We are back with our midweek NFL DFS update, and we are going to tighten up our core based on matchup data, projections, and the latest headlines, while noting what changed from yesterday quarterback. We are moving our top quarterback play from Jalen Hurts to Lamar Jackson at salary 7,000 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 24 against Cleveland, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 23. The why is simple. Lamar still carries the highest median plus ceiling combo on the slate with 29 fantasy points per game. And even with a volatile recent run of 520 and 23, the rushing and red zone role give him multiple touchdown paths that Hurts shares, but at higher expected attention. Public sentiment cooled after the late game collapse against Buffalo that was dissected by Essentially Sports, where John Harbaugh's punt decision and talk of Lamar losing ground in the MVP race dominated the news cycle, which should keep ownership very low for a player of this profile. Week 2 quarterback rankings posts also highlighted Lamar near the top, which supports the projection, while the field chases shinier narratives. We liked Hurts yesterday for price-based ceiling, but updated leverage tilts us to Lamar in tournaments today. For salary relief, we still like Spencer Rattler at salary 4,800 with a dash rank of 74 and a 12-point projection against San Francisco, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 18. The case here is price, not safety. Projection. Uncertainty is real if he has not cleared 3 starts, but the late preseason drive that pulled New Orleans even, plus reports on the ongoing Saints quarterback competition, suggest the playbook is opening. We preferred Joe Flacco as the budget passer yesterday, but early week ownership heat moved his way, and Rattler now gives us the cleaner punt leverage if you need the savings running back. We are elevating Christian McCaffrey to the top, running back at salary 7,500 with a dash rank of 100 and a 19-point projection against New Orleans, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 26. He brings 23 fantasy points per game and a recent trend of 23, 9, and 9, which signals usage rebounding toward his median. The news cycle questioned Kyle Shanahan about playing McCaffrey through a calf issue in Week 1, and multiple outlets framed it as playing with fire, but with midweek reports not flagging setbacks, the calculus is straightforward. We get elite role and explosive efficiency at a price that is not prohibitive, in a favorable matchup, while yesterday's Derrick Henry and Devon Achane calls remain viable, but move behind CMC for ceiling plus leverage flex. We are slotting James Conner into the primary flex at salary 6,600 with a dash rank of 100 and a 15-point projection against Carolina, who have the absolute worst defense overall with an opponent rank of 32. He averages 14 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 14, 3, and 30. The profile is workload and goal line equity in a best possible matchup, and while the headlines on Conner often spotlight his remarkable personal journey, the actionable DFS piece is that Arizona has every incentive to lean on him near the stripe. He was not a priority for us yesterday, but the combination of matchup and stable role pushes him ahead of the other mid-range options today. Wide receiver. We are pivoting from Puka Nacua to Malik Neighbors at salary 7,100 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 17 against Dallas, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 30. He averages 12 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 12, 39, and 14. Which shows spike week capability we want at this price. Reports that Brian DeBole and Neighbors have not gotten off on the right foot create narrative risk, but the data side gives us a plus matchup and a clear path to double-digit targets. This is a calculated volatility bet where the ceiling aligns with cost, and the field appears slower to get there than it should be. Tight end. We are upgrading to Sam Laporta at salary 4,800 with a dash rank of 100 and an 11-point projection against Chicago, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 16. Laporta is sitting at 14 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 14, 17, and 18. And the news cycle has reinforced his status among the premier tight ends in football with consistent touchdown equity. He edges out yesterday's David Njoku call because his role is less game script sensitive and his red zone usage trends are stickier, week to week defense and special teams. We are moving from the Steelers to the Dolphins defense at salary 2,900 with a dash rank of 100 and a 6-point projection against New England, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 25. This is primarily a price-adjusted bet on pressure and short fields, created by a Miami offense that can play with a lead, giving us sack and turnover opportunities without paying a premium, quick value notes. Kyle Juszczyk at salary. 4,000 is viable only as an ultra-contrarian dart, despite the favorable opponent rank of 26, because the projection of 3 and the fullback role make the floor fragile. Charlie Jones at salary 3,000 draws. Jacksonville, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31, and while his recent production is thin, the Bengals buzz after an encouraging start supports, punting a receiver spot if you need an absolute minimum play. Drew Sample at salary, 2,500 also faces Jacksonville, and works as a pure salary release valve at tight end if you cannot get to Laporta, with the understanding that 2 to 3 targets can be enough at this tag. Andre Iosivas, at salary 3,500, carries recent scores of 0, 9, and 14, and the news drumbeat around him as an emerging Bengals wideout fits the profile of a large field tournament dart in this matchup. The Panthers' defense at salary 2,300 versus Arizona, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 18, remains a thin but acceptable punt if you need every last bit of salary and are comfortable embracing volatility. Ownership across this course still looks very low midweek, which is why we leaned into leverage with Lamar over Hurts, prioritized McCaffrey at running back, and added Connor in the best possible matchup. If nothing significant changes by Friday, this is the pool we will build around, with Laporta as our stabilizer at tight end and Dolphins' defense as a value anchor. If late news flips any roles, we will post an update, but for now, this is where we are planting flags based on matchup, projection, and the most relevant headlines.